Welcome to Faultlines with me, Gauri Dwivedi. Now, this week on the show, Beijing and Moscow flex at sea. Are we witnessing a new maritime alliance? And is Trump's America countering Moscow and Beijing? Next, as Trump claims wins, there is a Trump-Putin meeting that looms. We break down the battlefield advantage that Russia may potentially have and what's driving the war machinery of Russia. Next on the show, we tell you Israel's Gaza game plan that's changing, but can it really still win the war? And lastly, robo-dogs are patrolling real battlefields. We unpack how far along really is India in this game. But first up, the big story that we are telling you this week, which is about Russia and China. In the cold contested waters of the Sea of Japan, two nuclear armed powers are rehearsing the future of warfare below the surface. There are anti-submarine strikes, there are amphibious assault simulations, even submarine rescue, all played out just miles from US allies and critical sea lanes, all while US submarines quietly reposition in response. It's strategic messaging aimed at Washington, Tokyo, and far beyond. What really is happening and what were these drills all about? This report has all those details for you.
In Maritime Interaction 2025, Russian and Chinese warships turned the Sea of Japan into a strategic rehearsal stage. What started as quiet harbour activity exploded into a 5-day show of force, above, on and beneath the waterline. 11 warships and submarines from both navies simulated high-stakes combat, from tracking enemy subs to gunning down amphibious assault ships, to deep-sea rescue ops that mirrored real-world emergencies. In a standout maneuver, a Russian IL-38 and a Chinese Y-8 aircraft located and destroyed a mock submarine in synchronized anti-submarine warfare. Meanwhile, amphibious landing ships were targeted in live-fire exercises. Below the waves, China's CNS Shihu deployed its LR-7 rescue sub to dock with a simulated sunken Russian sub, showcasing advanced emergency coordination. Russia's Volkhov and China's Great Wall 210 submarines swapped roles in joint rescue drills, signaling deeper operational trust and shared subsurface doctrine. But drills weren't confined to Russian waters. Planned destroyers and surveillance ships were sighted near Okinawa and the Philippine Sea, closely tailed by Japanese and US assets. And as Beijing and Moscow were gearing up to flex their naval muscles, US President Donald Trump ordered 2 American nuclear submarines into undisclosed appropriate regions, a powerful message in return. The Pacific is getting crowded. Bureau Report, NDTV World.
Viewers, we now tell you the changing dynamics as far as the Indo-Pacific is concerned. These drills have happened. What does this mean? Who has the edge? We tell you that. First up, there's now a dual command in terms of Russia and China leading these joint military operations. They've done this before. There is a messaging here, which is what we are talking about. Let's tell you now in terms of the edge as far as submarine is concerned. Next up, the drills show rising undersea warfare capabilities. Just how much in the Indo-Pacific will these submarine edge by either of the two sides really dictate the future conflict, and the nature of the outcome is something that we're going to decode for you in detail. Next up, provocation moves. Now, Russian and Chinese ships have approached Japanese waters deliberately. This isn't the first time. China has been doing this for the last 15 years. Provocation after provocation, and even during these drills that have happened, they are meant to send a message to at least half a dozen countries in that entire region, Japan being just one of them. Japan is also important because Japan is an ally of America. Next up, Japan has in fact reacted Tokyo tracks and shadows advancing fleets. Now, this is something that's very important for Japan to do. It has been doing so for a while, and every time any enemy ship or any foreign entity enters Japanese waters, then there is a SOP that kicks in, and that SOP is likely to be tested more going forward after the drills and the provocation that Russia and China are really sending out. Next up, the allies have responded. US, UK, Japan, South Korea, they are set to launch their counter naval drills. Indo-Pacific is now the epicenter of any potential conflict that will take place in waters. The maritime conflict will happen in Indo-Pacific, which is why you have US and its allies set to react to this, react to the provocative drills that Russia and China put out. And lastly, waters that are contested. Indo-Pacific seas no longer open. We've been saying that now. We've heard that. Unclosed verdict that came out, which granted Scarborough Shoal to Philippines. All that was completely rejected by China, and nobody could do a thing, which is why these drills are meant to send out a message, viewers. All right, as far as the blinkers off is concerned in this, Russia and China's joint naval drills in the Sea of Japan are no small fish story, viewers. Beneath the surface, these two powerhouses are sending a message that's loud and clear, that Indo-Pacific is their new chessboard, and they're moving pawns with deadly precision. It's a rehearsal for any potential real conflict. China has been preparing this now for almost a decade, and all its countries, there are about a dozen odd countries that share its naval boundaries with China, all of them, that includes most of ASEAN, are aware of that. Now, this rehearsal is played out in the shadow of US allies in vital shipping lanes. About 40% of the world's cargo actually goes via these contested waters. These are contested because China claims and lays claim over all of it. And now with Russia and China conducting those drills, the timing says it all. Russia and China are testing Washington's resolve. When Moscow and Beijing sink their teeth into joint subsurface doctrine, it signals a deepening partnership that could tip the scales in these contested waters. Meanwhile, American response, quietly but firmly deploying nuclear submarines to undisclosed waters, is a reminder that the games are far from over. Donald Trump may think that he's only going to look inward-looking and going to retreat from all other potential conflicts or other important areas in the world. He cannot do so. His machinery knows that he cannot do so. The Pacific, which was once a vast and open area, is now fast becoming a crowded, tense arena where every move counts. Tokyo's watchful eyes and allies' naval counter drills show that no one is willing to let sleeping dogs lie. The Indo-Pacific is a powder keg, and these drills are the sparks that are flying in a rapidly shifting balance of power. In the end, the question isn't just who controls the seas, but who controls the narrative of peace or provokes the next wave of conflict. The other story that we are tracking on the show, viewers, well, it is about the summit that will take place soon, which is the ICE summit between President Putin and US President Donald Trump. There's an expectation that 15th of August could potentially mean the end as far as the Russia-Ukraine conflict is concerned. It's been going on since 3.5 years. It started in February 2022. Donald Trump said that he's going to end it in 24 hours. That hasn't happened. But is this potentially the best possible option to end the war? We tell you. But first up, let's get you details in terms of what is the road to that ICE summit. Let's get you that timeline, viewers, and then we talk about why this is going to be extremely important. First up, February 12th, Trump and Putin hold their first call this term. Now, all of this is this year. If I go back in time to 2022, then we're talking about a whole different show altogether, viewers. This is February 12th, 2025, in the last couple of weeks. Let's move ahead and tell you in terms of February 18 what happened. That is when Marco Rubio and his counterpart, Sergei Lavrov, meet in Saudi Arabia. These efforts have been going on again and again. But this road to the ICE summit has been far from anything but smooth. And we're telling that to you right now. The timeline here. Next up, Putin and Trump agree on a ceasefire plan. Remember, in March, as early as March, about 5 months back, is when they decided that there must be some sort of a way to end this. but it hasn't happened so far because both sides kept on adding fresh set of demands, which is why it didn't lead to any ceasefire. Now, in April 11th is when Steve Witkoff, which is the man who's been entrusted by Donald Trump to find out some way to end this war, because guess what? Donald Trump does need that Nobel, right? So Steve Witkoff meets Putin again in Moscow on 11th of April. No breakthrough, no possible options. Deadlock continues. Now, 15th of May, US, Ukraine and Russia talk in Turkey. This is when those Istanbul talks have happened. There have been multiple rounds of talks. No breakthrough whatsoever because both sides have been adding on conditions. And in the interim, Donald Trump again swung from one extreme that I don't want Zelensky in my Oval Office to I am going to embark and I'm going to empower Zelensky with Patriot missiles. All that in a span of 6 months, even as breakthrough continues to be that elusive thing that ensures that this war ends. Let's move ahead and tell you the other two important points. 6th of August, Steve Witkoff returns. Trump sanctions India. As I said, Trump has no options. He wanted the war to end in 24 hours. We've been telling you a detailed timeline. It's been 6 months and counting, hasn't ended. And we're going to tell you whether this ICE summit would actually lead to a potential breakthrough or not. Lastly, ceasefire missed, Alaska summit confirmed. That's on the 8th of August is what this happened. Now, 15th of August is when this summit will take place. Now, what is this really going to mean in terms of a military win? Remember, on Faultlines, we tell you not just about what's really being seen right now, but beneath the surface. There's a reason why Vladimir Putin did not agree to any ceasefire till now, because he was really packing up military wins after military wins under his belt. Let's get in General Rajinder Singh, former DG Infantry, to talk about, is this the best potential time for Putin to be able to end this war because he's got big military wins under his belt? General Singh, is the momentum, the military momentum with Russia right now, and now how do you see the summit ending? Is this a big victory in terms of military victory for Vladimir Putin?
You see, the ceasefire and the peace will come only when both the countries, in fact, all the three countries agree. At the moment, there seems to be no meeting point. The reason for this is that Putin, the president of Russia, feels that he can exploit the current situation more and gain more territory. He already has captured nearly 1/3 of the territory of Ukraine. As far as Ukraine is concerned, Zelensky says that he is not going to butter away even an inch of his territory. So therefore, the meeting...
There's no deal because Putin has been able to actually get significant military wins in the last 60 days. The reason why he didn't agree to a ceasefire early, because the momentum was with him. Right now, if this war ends on the 15th of August, this actually is the best possible outcome for him in several months. Do you agree?
But Putin thinks that it is these current victories which he has got are not enough. Because there have been...
No, he's agreeing to a summit, sir. He's agreeing to a summit. He understands.
He's agreeing to a summit because he doesn't want too much of pressure from United States, and he wants Trump to pipe down a bit. And he feels that by meeting Trump, he will be able to convince him.
Here I was asking you what military wins he is going to get, and you are saying he's actually playing Trump and biding more time. Final question very quickly, sir, which is that if there is a ceasefire, do you really think that if there is a ceasefire, the territories that Russia is able to keep, which I'm sure would be part of the deal, could actually be the best military outcome of this war for him?
Yes, that could be in case Zelensky agrees, but I don't think Zelensky is going to agree. Second point is that Russia has also suffered in the past about 4 months. There have been massive drone attacks on their strategic air targets, and a large number of their aircrafts were downed. And the reason why Putin wants to launch this attack even further is to convey to his own population also that Putin has actually won the war. And unless he is able to do so, I don't think he will actually go in for peace. But yes, I do agree that as far as the current military
Okay.
situation is concerned,
Okay.
there has been a tremendous amount of gains that Russia has made as far as
Right.
capturing territory in Ukraine is concerned.
Let's leave it
And
there.
probably in next about a month or two, he is not going to gain much more.
Okay.
It is going to be only a
I have
marginal
to take a
difference.
break. I have to take a break, sir. General Singh, thanks much for joining us. And a very quick blinkers off, viewers, for you, which is that as far as this issue is concerned, the summit is concerned, Vladimir Putin is walking in with several military victories under his belt. He would like to continue that momentum. He would refuse to do that only if there is a deal that's worth taking on the table. As far as Zelensky, Europe, EU, NATO, all those are concerned, they are likely to be an afterthought. It is going to end up between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. Everybody else is a footnote. And there it's about ego, it's about messaging. Military victory is all that matters to Vladimir Putin. I would say Nobel is all that matters to Donald Trump. That's all there is to it. All right, viewers, on that note, a quick break on Faultlines. We return on the other side with more stories, including the latest Gaza plans and what lies ahead there. Stay with us. We decode that for you. Well, let's shift focus now to Gaza, where Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he plans to take full military control of Gaza Strip. That's another war, viewers, that's been going on since 7th of October 2023. There was expectation that Israel would be able to get those hostages back. It hasn't happened, which is why there's now a new Gaza plan that's coming in place. Now, something where Israel has said that it does not want to govern the Strip long term, but he wants to ensure that Hamas is completely decimated and hostages are brought back. Even as US and Israel agree on 5 post-war principles. We talk about post-war, but the war is still going on. The demilitarization and civilian rule plan that non-Israeli actors will get in place for Gaza is something that will happen later. Right now, as far as the Gaza plan is concerned, is very simple, that Israel wants to take more control. It has 75% control. It wants to go the whole hog. The end goal is that the war needs to end, hostages need to come back. But that hasn't happened so far. There's already a lot of backlash that Israel is facing because of that. In its own place, within Israel, there's growing protests in terms of whether getting control of more territory of Gaza is the right way or not. Netanyahu says the war could end tomorrow if Hamas surrenders and frees the captives. But this is exactly what it has been saying all along. So what really has changed? What is the new game plan? Will getting more territory in Gaza actually solve and end this conflict? Let's get in my colleague Vishnu Sob, who was in Gaza, who was in Israel, talking to people in the Israeli government to get that answer for you, viewers, because that's exactly what the bottom line is, which is, when will this war end? And let's get Vishnu to answer that for us.
Responding to a question which I posed to him here in Jerusalem on the potential impact on people in Gaza, whether there would be an increased number of casualties if Israel were to enhance their missions in the Gaza Strip, the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, said that Israel didn't have any plans at annexing Gaza itself. However, there would be a significant move, it appears, in the near future, which would ultimately lead to the creation of a transitional authority which would look at the entire Gaza situation. Now, that transitional authority would only be created, or Gaza itself would be handed over to the transitional authority once there was a security perimeter which was created by Israel. Now, the boundaries of that transition, of what Israel plans in terms of the security perimeter were not defined to me, but it does appear that that's something which the Israeli armed forces, the Israeli government would look at very closely once they're able to separate Hamas terrorists from innocent people in the Gaza Strip. Benjamin Netanyahu also making it clear that the situation would be much better if Hamas were to lay down their arms immediately and call for a ceasefire so that there could be a process of getting back the hostages, because that is the biggest priority of Israel. Remember, there are 50-odd hostages who are still in the Gaza Strip being held by Hamas. It's believed that the large number of them are alive. But this news of what Israel plans to do next with Gaza comes at a time when international efforts to try and bring a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip have failed. Israel has now decided to act to try and end that crisis in Gaza once and for all. The Prime Minister also making it clear to us that Hamas would not have any role in this transitional authority. In Jerusalem, with camera person Xavier Thomas, Vishnu Shobh for NDTV.
They climb stairs, they carry guns, they don't get tired. Welcome to the new front line where robotic dogs are trained for war. China's deploying them, India's developing them, and the battlefield may never be the same again. We leave you with this very special report that tells you the future of the conflict as you never know.
Meet the new soldiers of war. They don't have a heartbeat, they don't hesitate. China is calling them robo-wolves. These four-legged machines now walk with rifles strapped to their backs. They carry ammo, climb rubble, and could effectively storm buildings without a soldier in sight. In fact, Chinese robo-dogs have already been deployed in live drills in Cambodia. Now here's the question. Is India behind? Not quite. This is Sanjay, the Indian Army's mule. Multi-utility legged equipment. No gun strapped on the back just yet, but it's already patrolling, detecting bombs, and ready for chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear warfare. India's private sector is also stepping up. Multiple prototypes are under testing. This is future of war, and it is walking on four legs. And India's bite is coming. But that's not all. It will, in all certainty, be made in Bharat and made for Bharat.